The Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns subjected football fans to one of the most unwatchable games of the entire season Sunday, a 13-6 slog that left everyone involved deserving refunds for their time. Given the playoff stakes and storylines heading in, this had to be one of the most unrewarding contests imaginable. The only winners were Browns fans who enjoyed ruining Pittsburgh's day. Three major storylines define just how terrible this game was and how little encouragement it provides the Steelers heading into their winner-take-all AFC North showdown with Baltimore on Sunday night. Aaron Rodgers borderline refused to participate in the game. Myles Garrett's chase of the single-season sack record dominated pre-game coverage, but Rodgers exited the weekend as the headline, with his total lack of desire to become Garrett's record-breaking victim. His top priority was avoiding that sack at all costs, probably costing Pittsburgh the game. According to True Media, Rodgers' 2.31 seconds average time to throw ranked only his fifth fastest mark of the season, but the throws he made were detrimental to offensive function. Hospital balls thrown behind the line of scrimmage, immediate flings to unprepared receivers, and general avoidance of Garrett dominated his approach. Garrett acknowledged afterward that Pittsburgh seemed more worried about keeping him away from Rodgers than actually winning the game. Rodgers claimed the sack record wasn't on his mind, but his play suggested otherwise. Numerous passing plays weren't allowed to develop, tanking Pittsburgh's scoring chances until late when they desperately needed a touchdown just to tie. It was avoidance at its peak, which would have been funny except for one tiny detail. The Steelers still needed to win this game. Victory would have clinched the division, allowing Pittsburgh to rest starters in Week 18 against Baltimore. Instead, they now face win-or-go-home against much-improved Ravens, who just rushed for 300 yards against Green Bay to keep playoff hopes alive. With DK Metcalf suspended for Week 18, deeper developing plays might remain scarce. When asked what needs changing offensively, Rodgers simply said, "Not much, just better execution." That response inspires zero confidence heading into the biggest game of Pittsburgh's season. The Steelers' total Garrett avoidance ended up unnecessary because Myles Garrett essentially took himself out of the game. It's easy understanding why Garrett felt antsy about this record. There's silly stigma around breaking records in the 17-game era, since previous generations had 16 or fewer games for immortality. Getting the sack record in 16 games would have been undeniable, though 17 games is equally legitimate given today's landscape. Garrett's fervor to achieve this milestone was palpable, but his strategy was absolutely terrible. As the game progressed, his pre-snap alignment moved farther and farther from where the ball was placed. He tried taking the widest angles possible to meet Rodgers at the apex of his drop, making things impossibly difficult for himself. Running back Kenneth Gainwell served as the main chip blocker on Garrett, often providing first contact before offensive tackles engaged. Gainwell kept pushing wider as Garrett aligned farther outside until the pass rusher was legitimately lined up in the slot on some plays. That made sacking Rodgers impossible, given how quickly the quarterback released the ball. Mike Tomlin insisted Pittsburgh didn't do anything different against Garrett than they normally do, calling it standard business. But Garrett ended up gassed from his long runways trying to reach Rodgers, creating the worst cat-and-mouse game ever displayed between two undeniably great players. Rodgers got the ball out so fast it hurt Pittsburgh's offense, while Garrett lined up so wide it hurt Cleveland's defense on the final drive when they nearly surrendered a game-tying touchdown after allowing just 2 field goals for 59 minutes. This probably should have been a Browns blowout, but Cleveland gained another data point showing they need another swing at quarterback. Initially, this looked like the game for Shedeur Sanders. His first 2 drives featured decisive throws over the middle in rhythm. The touchdown to Harold Fannin Jr. was poorly thrown after Sanders got hit, and things spiraled from there. Cleveland gained just 6 first downs and averaged 15 yards per drive over the final 3 quarters. Despite completing 73% of passes, Sanders posed zero threat to Pittsburgh. He held the ball too long, threw short dump-offs on critical downs with no conversion chance, and overestimated his athleticism, creating unnecessary pressure. Sanders couldn't explain what went wrong after the hot start, saying he needs to watch film. Perhaps he can be a fine backup throughout his rookie contract, but that's all he is. His efficiency numbers equal the much-maligned Dillon Gabriel. He hasn't been nearly good enough to waltz into next season as the starter. Cleveland needs another quarterback investment as soon as possible. This win might have knocked them out of quarterback territory in the draft, but it doesn't make Sanders safer. The NFL's evaluation appears correct. He looks like any other Day 3 rookie except with a famous father. That's not reason enough to continue. For comprehensive NFL coverage and playoff analysis, subscribe to USA Today News and stay informed.